Geramita. He is our next guest. He is the owner of Primo Tailoring, and I hope that I didn't just massacre his name. He's gonna, as soon as I start looking this way, here he comes, here he comes. Louis, thanks for joining us.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Yeah, let's talk about your tailoring business. And I love this, kind of built during the pandemic, and talk about the purpose just outside of that business that we were kind of chatting about earlier, getting young people to realize that looking nice isn't a bad thing.
Yeah, absolutely. So during the pandemic, one of the things we realized is that retail in itself is going to change drastically. So we wanted to find a way to kind of tackle that idea of what new retail looks like, but from after pandemic situation. So a lot of what it was built around retail that had a purpose and like kind of a drive for what they're doing. So for us, it came down to teaching people to dress well because it's important, it's a second language, and just kind of finding that art of clothing again, and then wrapping it into a retail setting.
I want to know how you became a tailor. Was this in your family? Is this something that was passed down to you? Where did you find this interest? When did this spark in you?
Yeah, so it's actually a pretty interesting story. So I started off in the construction industry doing housing, repair, roofing, that kind of stuff.
Pivot?
Yeah, total pivot. But my family did have a history in sewing. They did commercial awnings, boat covers, that kind of stuff. And actually growing up in that business, I told myself, I was like, I'm never going to touch a sewing machine. I hate it. I'm never going to do it. It's so much work.
You jinxed yourself.
I did, but then I fell in love with menswear, and I fell in love with the history and why we wear certain pieces and where they derive from. So I ended up getting connected through actually my now mother-in-law who knew someone who knew somebody who was looking to train up here in Erie. So I commuted for about a year to learn how to do it. And
you also volunteer at the City Mission and Urban University. Tell us about that. What is your volunteer work?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, going back to my mother-in-law, she is actually the director of the youth program. So I'm always been involved with the stuff since early on of coming up here to Erie. So I had a lot of fun there, but we just recently ran a summer program where we were teaching kids how to upcycle fashion, kind of teaching them like skills in terms of like economic skills and developing their business acumen, I guess you could say. So fashion was one of those.
And you're using social media to get to those young people. So talk about how you're using TikTok to convey the importance of what you wear. I love how you called it a second language.
Yeah, so a lot of it has just been built off of my love for social media and marketing. So I've just been using it because I like telling my story. I've grown a bit of a following on there, so just kind of keeping up with everybody. But again, it's just how business is done nowadays. You need to be in front of the younger audiences, and the way you do that is through social media. And TikTok and Instagram are the two biggest at this moment.
So talk real quickly, tell our viewers where they can find you on TikTok and Instagram.
Yeah, so usually if you just look up Aspiring Gent, that's my handle on everything, or my name, Louis Geramita. You can pretty much find me pretty quickly.
And where's Primo Tailoring?
421 State Street, right down by the Art Museum in downtown Erie.
Perfect.
Love it.
Thank you so much, Louis, for joining us today. It's a pleasure meeting you.
Likewise.
And you do
Thank you
look
for looking so dapper.